We help people in times of need by helping them restore their business and property back to a pre-loss condition if they've suffered an event. I finished a large apartment fire down in Southgate, Michigan, 12 units affected. And I just finished a commercial building actually here in Southfield that had 16 floors affected from a water loss during the polar vortex last winter. It was a suppression line that broke in what they call the penthouse, which is typically the mechanical floor of a commercial high-rise, and flooded all the way down into the basement. We got there and stabilized the situation, removed all the affected products, helped dry it out, and essentially put it back together again to achieve the fire rating that the elevator shafts need.
You know, we can scale up from, large crews to in the hundreds if needed. We were downtown Detroit. We just provided them a couple hundred crews to help them on various projects, to smaller residential, so we can do it all in between. I like the work because every day there's something new with it. We're here to help people. People call us when a disaster hit, when something happened to them, they're displaced, they need to get their business back and going, and we can provide a solution for them.
Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. My name's Adam Helfman. Saturday morning home improvement season. It's kickoff football season. It's all good. Home improvement's the best. In fact, the NFL of home improvement is Hire It Done. And our contractors. That's how we roll here. So one of the things that you do as a homeowner is you try and keep your house up to date. You try and keep the roof in good shape. You try and keep the gutters clean. You try and tune up your furnace. But what happens when there's an unplanned event? What happens when, and by the way, let me define an unplanned event. The hose or the supply line under your sink breaks. You had a builder who built some crappy home in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and they use these cheap faucets that have plastic fittings instead of brass. Over time, they break and crack. And it slowly breaks, and then all of a sudden it splits. Maybe the water line to your refrigerator. Maybe your sump pump breaks. Maybe we have a huge water storm, a flood, windstorm, whatever it is, and your basement floods. Those are things that's called an unplanned event. So how do you plan for that? You don't. You got to be smart, though. You got to know who to call. You got to know how to turn your water off. You got to know, listen, if a tree falls on your house, just hope that everyone's safe. You don't hurt yourself, right? So Hire It Done always teams up with emergency repair contractors that are what we call 24-hour, 7-day-a-week companies, where if you call them at 3 a.m., you call them at midnight, you call them at 8 in the morning, guess what? Every time the phone rings, they answer. And so we pre-screen contractors. And that's the other thing. When there's a hailstorm and everyone's roof gets beat up, you don't want the people knocking on your door saying, hey, Mrs. Homeowner, we're in the neighborhood. They're called fire chasers. We're in the neighborhood. We're going to get you a free roof. And we're going to pay your deductible. And we're going to put money in your pocket. Just sign here. Very tempting. But that's not how it rolls. And that's what we're not promoting here. So we're promoting professionalism. And so joining me on the Hire It Done radio show right now is the team members from Signal Restoration, which I have a long-term relationship with. Nathan or Nate?
Nate's fine.
Nate Brewer and Don Bloom from Signal. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
So Nathan, let me ask you a question. I got to say Nathan. Is that all right?
It's fine.
I think it's more respectful. So Nathan, tell me, what do you do at Signal Restoration?
I am the senior estimator for large loss. I specialize in multifamily, commercial, high-rise, help them with typically the larger water losses and fires.
And how long have you been doing this?
I'm going to date myself a little. I've been in the industry since 2001.
Whoa.
And I've been at it for a while. I started off as just a laborer in the industry, carpenter, so I've done most aspects of construction. If I haven't done it, I've been side by side with the people doing it. So,
my man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Don Bloom. Don, give me how long you been doing this?
Good morning. I've been in the insurance restoration business for almost 10 years.
So the official term of this business, of this vertical, is called insurance restoration, meaning restoring any loss from a house, and the insurance company's paying for it, basically, right?
Right.
And that's what we figured. So, Signal Restoration, let me give you a little history about Signal. So, I'm a fourth generation contractor. My great grandfather started my family business in 1926. Okay, and he had 4 brothers, and they all worked for him. One of the brothers ventured off and started Signal. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm. You worked with eventually Chris Ammon
Right.
in the early
Right.
80s, right?
And so those guys, and then evolved into Signal today. So I feel like we were related, like kind of like family. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I respect about you guys is what we'll call, or what your CEO calls, relentless customer service. Does that sound familiar to you, Don?
Absolutely. RCS.
Yes, exactly. RCS. So relentless customer service is very, very heavy statement, and it puts a lot of pressure on the organization, I would think.
Absolutely.
So your CEO, his name's Frank Torrey, and he's the guy who basically leads the ship there with relentless customer service. So Nathan, let me ask you a question. Tell me in your words, what does that mean?
It means the never-ending pursuit to make sure that your client is satisfied, and by doing so with consistency, building your empire.
Exactly. And that's the point I want to make, because the homeowners, listen, when you have a flood in your house, you guys are the first guys out there, or one of the first, right? Mm-hmm. So homeowners, they're like a deer in the headlights sometimes. Don, don't you agree?
Yeah.
And so they need to be told what to do. They need to be feel comfortable. And that has to come from the company culture, from the top down. So one of the things that I've noticed from my experience working with homeowners that have used Signal in the past is that you take the fear out of who's going to pay for this, how's it going to happen, and what goes on next. And that's important because, when your basement has 6 to 8 inches of water in it, you've got years of stuff in the basement, you're freaking out. You guys come to the house and you allay that fear to the homeowners. So let's talk about a flood in the basement. Let's say it's a 3-story building, it's a condo, it's whatever it is. Nathan, you're on the scene. What's the first thing Signal Restoration does?
Well, 9 times out of 10, myself and my technicians are walking in around the same time. We're there within an hour. We meet with the insured, kind of walk around, assess the situation, and just generally try to put them at ease as best as possible. Again, I know it's easy to say for me. I walk into this every day. I'm fairly callous to it. So we do our best to ensure that we're going to handle this. We're going to take care of it, set expectations early on, and give them some peace, I guess, if that's possible, into this, just to calm down,
Right,
and guide them through it.
So when people have belongings in the basement and they're waterlogged, do you have a company that comes in and helps dry all that out?
We dry it out, but as far as the contents, we work with multiple companies that will help us facilitate artwork. And
So as a homeowner, I don't have to find that company.
Nope.
You do it. You bring
Everything.
them in and take care of it.
we walk in, and one of the first things we establish is that we'll handle this from start to finish.
Yeah. And Don, tell me about when we talk about relentless customer service. You're out in front. You're always talking to homeowners. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. So relentless customer service, the big piece about it is just educating the homeowner. Because like you said, this is something they probably have no experience with. They're not sure what the steps are. Nathan, the team's there to walk them through it. But we're going to provide them the communication. It's going to be first-class service from the time that our vehicles pull up. You'll have nice, clean vehicles. Nathan, the technicians, they're going to look sharp, professional, and just a communication throughout the process. Nathan's going to hold their hand from start to finish, walk them through the different contractors, walk them through the different steps with the insurance company, the mortgages, anything that's related to this loss.
It's important that you say that because when I say promote and preach to homeowners, the success of a renovation job or any type of project that involves a home is communication. And you just define that for us, which is really a good trait because it makes important, because homeowners just, all they want to know that they're safe, right?
Right.
They want to feel safe because they're at risk now. They might lose a lot of stuff. They have insurance, but everyone in the back of their mind says, oh my God, the insurance companies, are they going to deny this claim? Are they going to delay the claim? What's going to happen? Well, this is all you guys do. You have a whole a division that deals with the insurance companies. You have a whole division that dries the house out and gets rid of any mold. You have a whole division that does the reconstruction. You have a whole division that works with if the homeowner needs to stay in another location. Isn't that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We can provide temporary housing. We have multiple locations and places that we work with, and we can make that transition also smooth for the property owner.
We're talking with Don Bloom and Nathan Brewer from Signal Restoration. So where's Signal located?
We're in Troy.
And you guys, so you're located in Troy, Michigan, but you guys do work all over the country, right?
Yeah, we have offices all over the country as well.
So you're a nationwide company.
Absolutely.
But you're centered out here in Michigan.
Our global headquarters is in Troy, Michigan.
And you guys service all of Metro Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's the nucleus of your business, which is great.
We're actually doing 2 jobs in the UP currently right now as well.
Ishpeming, Ironwood, where at?
We're at Ironwood and Chocolate.
I used to know a contractor in Ironwood.
Mm-hmm.
He always wanted me to visit, but I'm like, I Google mapped it, and I'm like, dude, it'll take me 3 days.
It's closer to Wisconsin than it is to Michigan.
I'm like, dang.
Or to Detroit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so definitely, one of those things. And where's the nearest airport? Still, you got to
Ishpeming,
fly.
I believe.
then
Or
you drive.
Marquette, I think is the closest. Yep.
I want to do it because it's beautiful up there, but we'll see. So, the thing is making sure when we talk about unplanned loss is how do you prepare for something that you're unplanned? And so I want to start working on tips for homeowners right now who are listening. That okay, you have insurance, everything's good, life is good. What are some of the things or tips we can give homeowners right now to prepare for the unpreparable, right? So, Nathan, you and I have recently created a video. It's on YouTube that we have. And the video is about documenting your belongings in your house and what to do with that. So what I want to do is I want to describe how to do that after we take this break.
Okay.
So we've got Nathan Brewer and Don Bloom from Signal Restoration, relentless customer service, otherwise known as the NFL of insurance repair. I like that. And we're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back, we're going to give you tips on how to prepare for the unplanned event. I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network. Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. My name's Adam Helfman. Signal Restoration in studio. Don Bloom, Nathan Brewer. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you.
The website, signalrestoration.com.
Correct.
And what's the 800 number if people want to call us? 800-533-9898?
Correct.
Perfect. So let's talk about actionable items homeowners can do today to make sure that, God forbid, they have an unplanned event, flood, fire, windstorm damage. Well, at least they'll know they're in good hands. So, Nathan, at the break, we were talking about maybe calling the insurance agent. If they call their insurance agent, which I think they should do, what are the questions they need to ask?
One major question right now is coverage. Do I have enough to repair my home? Say the worst case catastrophic event happened and you had to build from the ground up. Do I have enough coverage to rebuild it in today's market?
That's called replacement coverage?
Replacement cost value.
What does code upgrade mean?
Code upgrade would mean your house, most houses, let's just say an average, are built between the 40s and 70s,
Sure.
And somewhere in there. Codes have changed, as you know, every 3 years and quite substantially since your house was most likely built.
Sure.
Meaning that if you get into tearing your house apart, you will now have to bring it to today's code, which can mean quite a bit.
So it costs more money.
Cost, yeah, absolutely.
And then material costs have gone up. Everything's gone up. Okay, so actionable items for homeowners today is call your insurance agent today and just say, hey, I was listening to the radio show, and this guy on the radio said to call my insurance agent and ask, if my house burned down today, do I have enough coverage to rebuild it and not have to come out of pocket?
Absolutely.
Okay. What about like sump pump coverage? Because I know sometimes it's $100 a year for sump pump coverage. Yes or no?
It could be. It really depends on the carrier, but it's very important to ask what does that cover, because they might only give you $5,000, and in most basements, how far is $5,000 if you have a catastrophic backup? It's very little.
It's a dumpster, and the guys come and do
the guys
the
to dry it out typically.
Okay, so that's it. So can you get if it is only $5,000? Can you add?
Most carriers they differ, but yes, you can add more coverage and limits to the policy.
Right. Because here's what happens, my friends who are listening: you're going to have a flood, and we don't want you to. But if you do, guess what? Then all of a sudden, insurance comes. Oh, well, you only have this much coverage, and then you're mad, and you go to your agent. Why didn't you tell me? Oh, well, you just wanted the lowest rate. Do yourself a favor, everyone. Please call your insurance agent. But the good side is you got Signal Restoration. If there ever is a problem, and that's the that's the best part. So let's talk about a scenario. And this just happened with me. We talked about this. Appliance delivery guy delivers a cooktop to a house, and he puts it on the homeowner's home, and he says, "Hey, just put it on the old cooktop in the kitchen. I'll have my guys install it." He puts it on the old cooktop. By accident, his hip hits the on button. It burns the cardboard around the cooktop and starts a fire. Luckily, the guy has an alarm. The alarm catches it. Fire department shows up, breaks down the door because the homeowner had just left, puts it out. The house is full of smoke. It smells like burnt. Mm-hmm. Like burnt marshmallows a little bit. Or like when you're little. Remember when you burn a spider? Remember that smell? You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, kind of like me. Anyway, so now the insurance company, homeowner calls his insurance company and says, "Oh, I got a problem." And the insurance company says, "Well, what happened?" Blah, blah, blah. So that insurance company goes to the driver who delivery insurance. So really the delivery company's insurance is taking care of it, right?
They'll try to subrogate against
Yeah.
them, of course.
So now that insurance company's paying for smoke damage. The cabinets are burnt, but the countertop's granite, and they're like, "Oh no, we're not going to give you a new countertop." Well, how do you take a countertop off without breaking it?
If not very carefully, you don't.
It's like surgery. The cost of the guy zipping it out, trying to uninstall it, it's really difficult.
In my experience, I have probably a 40% success rate at best.
Right. And then here's the other part. The insurance company's delayed on their response on everything. So the homeowners can't live in the house, so they're outside living. They have outside living expenses, which the insurance company's paying for, right?
Yep.
So they're at a hotel, $1.50 a night, right? They've been in it 3-4 weeks. The cost of that could have bought them new countertops. I don't understand. Time value of money, TVM. And we should have, you guys are at the top of the list for insurance companies. They're like, yeah, use Signal because they know the job gets done quick. Mm-hmm. Why is it that sometimes the delay on the response? What's the problem there?
90% of the time it boils down to communication. Poor communication between the carrier, the adjuster, the contractor, the homeowner, the agent sometimes if they're involved.
Okay, so communication, just like you said, Don Bloom, about relentless customer service.
Right.
Circulates, and the nucleus of a good project is communication.
The communication, and that's where, with the delays that come on the job, Signal can manage all of that. We have our experts like Nathan here, and he knows how to navigate through the insurance companies. We know what delays the insurance companies are going to have. We can hold the homeowner's hand through that, through our relentless customer service, through our daily communication, because what it does is it holds the insurance company accountable.
Correct.
So, not only are we accountable, but the insurance company's accountable, the homeowner's accountable. When you have accountability through all parties and the communication, you start to see results. And then,
so let me ask you this. That's a great thing. So when a homeowner signs, signs on with Signal to help them with their insured loss, is there one point of communication for the homeowner?
Yeah, so when Signal signs with Signal Restoration Services, they're assigned an estimator, if it's Nathan or someone else that's part of our team. And they have a project manager, and then we have somebody, a project coordinator in our office. So they get a team of people that there's always somebody that's there monitoring their loss. If it's from Nathan out there scoping it, working with the insurance company, to a project manager on the backside scheduling with, the granite company to do installation.
So when they get frustrated, they just call you guys.
They just call us. We handle it all.
And you document everything, because when the insurance company says, "Well, why didn't you tell us?" We're like, "What do you mean, why don't we tell you? Here's our log of all the calls. Here's our list of questions." Because that's the other thing.
I think you and I had mentioned this before. Emails are great because they're forever.
Right. So speaking of that, the other actionable items we want to give homeowners advice to is when the insurance company, God forbid there's a loss, says to the homeowner or says to Signal, "All right, get the homeowner to give us a list of everything they owned." Can you imagine? I had butterflies just thinking about that, like anxiety. So today, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, most homeowners have a smartphone. If you don't, take up a camera. And Nathan, tell everyone what they should do with the camera.
Just walk around and even take short videos or photos of everything you have in all your rooms, just to give you a visual of what you've had. Take it, store it in on a thumb drive, in an external hard drive, and just keep it somewhere.
Email it to yourself.
Or even email it to your agent as well, just so that they have a copy on record, God forbid, if anything were to happen.
And then when the insurance company says, "Well, we need to know how much clothes." I have so many old clothes in my basement that when I get fat, I pull them out. When I lose weight, I got my thin clothes, my fat clothes, I got my corduroys, I got my old Gucci, I got my new Gucci. So, retro, bringing it back, I have to take pictures of that. Mm-hmm. Because, as you all know, what my value to things are and what other people's values, the insurance company, you got to tell them, you got to prove it.
Absolutely.
So one man's treasure, another man's garbage. Whatever.
The price of gerbos have gone up over the years, you know.
Gerbo, the white stripe, right? Oh my God! Text us 97136. Any old cool clothes we wore in high school, right? Z Cavaricci's. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Gerbos. What were Gerbos called before Gerbos?
That I don't know. Martin
Compliments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're talking to Mr. Fashion here. All right. Listen, I want to thank Signal Restoration for coming on today. You guys are awesome. www.signalrestoration.com. If you want to call them, you got a water loss, flood, fire, windstorm, smoke damage. 800-533-9898. Visit hireitdone.com if you want relentless customer service from Signal Restoration. I want to thank you both for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Thank you.
Shout out to Frank Torrey, the CEO of Signal Restoration, the master,
The man.
NFL of property damage, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we're coming up. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Hire It Done. We'll be back.